Hello, everybody. My name is Elijah.
And my name is Luke.
And this is the Eagles of Steel podcast. And today, we are going to be talking about the NFL's previous season. Oof. This was an interesting season.
Yeah, it was.
So, let's get started. Let's start off with just what we're going to do is grade everybody, like as in like from, school grades, the usual stuff, like F to A. And then also, we're going to be just like talking about how each team was, how we felt they were, and see where they can improve. So, without further ado, let's get started with the Carolina Panthers.
Wow, what a rough season they had.
Oof. Yes. That was an interesting season, to say the least.
Probably just a rebuilding season for these guys because they only went 2-15.
Yeah,
it was rough, both offensively and defensively. Defensively, it was a lot better than offense. Tell you that.
So the Carolina Panthers had the number 32 offense, only giving to the defenses 265.3 yards per game. That is horrible.
Yeah, it was bad.
However, though, the defense for the Carolina Panthers is sitting at number 4. Now, that's incredible.
Yeah, I would take back what I said about the Panthers' defense being bad. It was actually pretty decent.
So, now I guess the question is, what are we going to rank them as? I'm going to say F. Like, seriously, 2-15, come on, man. That's awful.
I honestly agree with you. I ranked mine as an F as well.
Yeah, we definitely agree on that one. So, the next team would be this. The Washington Commanders. They are sitting at 4-13.
Last in the NFC East.
Yeah, so being 3-14, worst in their division.
You mean 4-13? Because that's what they were.
Oh, did I say 3-14?
Yes, you did.
Oh.
It's 4-13.
Well, close enough, right? It still sucks. So, let's look at their defense. Oof. Being 32nd.
Dead last,
allowed 388.9 yards per game.
Ouch, that's rough.
That's terrible. But how was their offense, though?
Well, their offense was okay. They were 24th in total offense, 312.8 yards a game.
Well, at least not the Panthers.
Yeah, it wasn't the Panthers.
But still, though, okay. They ended with, like we said, they ended with 4-13. How would you rank them by grade? For me, it's another F, man. They were trash. They were trash.
Me, I ranked them as a C, and here's the reason why.
You better explain.
I know, I better explain. Our offense didn't look too bad. Their defense didn't look too bad. They had sparks on both sides, but they just couldn't finish the game right.
Okay. Okay, I can see that. But I'm still giving them enough.
That's your opinion, so.
So, next up on our list is the New England Patriots. Oh, I don't even want to finish the name. Okay, so.
I know you probably don't.
Steelers fans everywhere. Okay, so where did they stand? So the Patriots, their defense was actually solid. It sat at 7. 7?
On defense, they had that Bill Belichick defense, so it was pretty
I guess
good.
it works. How about offensively?
Not the greatest. 30th, 276 yards per game. That's rough. I could tell because their offense cannot get going at all this year.
Yeah, that was accurate, man. That's so accurate how bad they were. Now,
how would we rank them?
By grade? I'm sorry. Like, I'm on a 3-team streak right now. I'm giving them solid Fs, failed. So, Patriots are getting a fail, also because I'm a Steelers fan, so I hate the Patriots too. So,
for me, I wasn't far behind you, D-. So I wasn't far behind you.
But you only ranked them differently by like 2%?
Well, their defense was good. That's why I ranked them a little bit higher than they should. But their offense sucked. That's why they're only a D-.
Yeah, I guess. Okay. Next up, guys, we got the Arizona Cardinals. Interesting team. Where do they sit after all of this? So the Cardinals, their defense sat near the bottom, not quite the bottom, and their score was at like 24th in the NFL in defense, which allowed 355.7 yards per game.
That's still pretty rough.
Pretty rough, but it's not as bad as the other two.
Offensively, they were ranked 19th, which is actually better than what their defense was by all means.
Yeah, it didn't take too much. However, though, I do have to give the Cardinals props, though, for putting up big fights against big teams. Remember, they beat the Cowboys, the Eagles. So now, where would I rank the Cardinals? For me, I'm giving them a solid D+. I feel like they are definitely better than the other three teams, I'd say. How about you?
I still give them a D-, similar to the Patriots, but I should have given them a D or a D+, but I decided to give them a D- because their defense was the struggling point of that season. Their offense was looked a lot better because Kyler Murray was running around like crazy. And
that was in the second half of the season, too. They didn't even have him in the first half. So.
No, they didn't. They only had him in the second half, and that's what got their offense going.
And that was definitely nice to see, especially if you're a Cardinals fan. All right, let's move on to the Los Angeles Chokers. I mean Chargers. Chargers, that's what I meant. So, let's look at where they stand. So, for defense, the Chargers also sat near the bottom at 28.
Ouch.
They're worse than the Cardinals defensively. How is their offense at least? Come on, got to be better, right?
Yes, it is definitely way better. It is actually sitting at 13th total offense, which is way better. It was 232 yards a game, which was way better than the other teams that we discussed so far.
Yeah. 13 offense, but one of the worst defenses in the league. Thanks, Brandon Staley. Now, let's figure out how we want to rank this team, because to be honest, they had two totally different seasons. The first half was Brandon Staley led, and it was trash.
Horrid.
That one right there would have made it an F for me. But the second half improved a little bit enough, and also with their recent coach pickup that we'll talk about in a later episode. I got to give them at least the benefit of the doubt. Give them a D-, not quite an F, but yeah. How about you?
I would give them a D, but it's not what I hoped they were, but Brandon Staley kind of ruined their season for them. Yeah. That first half of the season really sucked for them.
Just a warning for any team out there, do not hire this man. I swear, do not. Anyway, let's move on with the New York Giants. Talk about the NFC least. Wait. Now, I'd say they're technically an improvement over Washington, but not really by much. They are sitting at the 27 defense, one above the Chargers.
Not much. Their offense was horrid. 31st.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they lost more yards than they gained. Like the amount of times that their quarterbacks got sacked. Like, oh man.
Their offensive line was trash.
Yeah, agreed. So,
offensive line allowed the most sacks in the league. It probably was at least 70 to 80 sacks.
Yeah. So, what if we rank these guys? Like, the only thing I really liked about their team was their coach. I like Brian Dable. He's actually pretty good.
He is good.
So, I'm going to give them a D- again, kind of like the Chargers. Not much improvement over an F, but still better.
I'll give them the D+, but it's not a C. It's not C-, it was a D+, but your offense was more of a struggle than their defense. Their defense was a little better than their offense, which is similar to the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah. So let's move on. Now this one is where I feel like we can get some interesting stuff because I might have a biased take on this team, but it's the Tennessee Titans. And the reason why I'm biased, thank you Tennessee for getting us into the postseason. I am so happy.
As a Pittsburgh fan, he agrees with this.
So, Tennessee, you stood pretty much right in the center when it comes down to your defense. Sitting at 17th.
Offensively, it wasn't much better than the Panthers or the Giants. So sitting at 29th.
29th, though.
180 yards a game.
No.
Their defense was somehow better than their offense because that was the exact opposite last year.
Let's go and do our grade because I'm giving this one a little bit of a biased take because I'm giving them a solid C. Because even though their season wasn't that good, their record was 6-11, I believe.
Yes, that'd be right.
And it's just, I don't know. I like that they beat Jacksonville for me. How about you?
They got them into the season for you. I'm giving them a D plus, and that seems pretty close to what you had, but you had a more biased approach because you being a Pittsburgh fan. So
yeah, definitely.
The reason why being D plus is, well, their offense wasn't great. Their defense was definitely a lot better than what their offense was, guaranteed.
Hmm.
But the run game was their strength of the offense. They couldn't get any passing going, really.
Yeah, definitely not. All right, let's move on. We got the Atlanta Falcons.
This one's an interesting team because this one's another also debating team as well.
Yeah, their defense was actually pretty solid for the most time. Pretty sure they're sitting at number 11?
That's not bad. Their offense wasn't too bad either. They sat at number 22nd in offense, I'm pretty sure. Let me look.
Oh, yeah, their running back, though. That running back that they have is crazy good.
That rookie, I think it was a rookie running back, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, actually, I think they had like 2 rookie running backs. Algier is pretty good, too.
Both the rookie running backs were solid. That offense was solid at 22nd, which isn't terrible, but is decent.
Yeah. Now, they need to get rid of Desmond Ridder. I'm going to say that right out now. Desmond Ridder is not their answer.
No, a quarterback, it was not great. His passing game was absolutely terrible. Their run game was their strength.
That by a lot. Long shot. So, where would I rank them? I'm going to yet again give this team a solid C. They were kind of right in the middle for me. They weren't bad. They weren't necessarily good. They were, right there. How about you?
I'm going to give it a C minus. It wasn't in the D area. I bumped it up to a C minus for the Atlanta Falcons. Their offense was pretty good. It wasn't great teams, but their defense was really good.
Yeah.
For what their team was, their defense was their strength.
Yeah, I'd agree on that. All right. Next up, now, okay, I love how this team, ended their season. The Chicago Bears. Their defense was actually, sitting in the top 12. They're number 12 defense.
That's actually pretty good.
For 7-10, that's not bad.
But their offenses struggled at 27th, which wasn't the greatest.
But here's the thing. You have to consider the fact that the first half of the season was dog water. And the second half, there was an offensive explosion.
Yeah, they definitely upped their game in offense in the second half. It's similar to a couple other teams we mentioned.
Yeah, definitely. Now, where would I grade them? They're definitely better than Atlanta or Tennessee, I'd say that. So I gave them a solid C+. How about you?
For me, for the Bears, I gave them also a C minus.
C minus.
I gave them a C minus as well. Like
It's
I said,
just a rough.
Their defense wasn't helping them at all. Their offense in the first half, as you said, definitely was not great at all. But the second half of the season, for a couple teams like the Bears, it was explosion.
It's nice to see that. All right. Next up, I'm sorry, Jets fans, because we have you up next. And I just want to say, I hope Aaron Rodgers comes back and he beats the Chiefs.
Oh, I totally agree with you, honestly. I honestly want Aaron Rodgers to come back for the Jets because I think that team has potential on offense.
It does. If you want to look at their defense, they had the number 3 defense.
Their defense was
amazing. That thing was a monster. But how's their offense, though? Because that was the issue.
30th they were.
Oh, God.
171 yards a game.
30th? Okay. I am so sorry for you Jets fans.
Probably because the Aaron Rodgers wasn't in there because he got hurt on the first drive of their season.
Doesn't help when they have Zach Wilson, though.
Yeah, Zach Wilson was not your answer, Jets fans. Just keep putting that out there.
I think they probably already knew that, though. So, where would I rank them? I'm going to say solid C. Like, right in the middle. Like, their defense was really good, but their offense was really bad. So, I feel like it measures it out equally for me. So,
C- for me. Even though they were a 7-10 team, yes. Their defense was amazing, but their offense was horrid.
They just couldn't do anything.
No.
Next up, we got the Minnesota Vikings. Okay. This was probably one of my more underrated teams when this come down to this list. Because the Vikings defense, that wasn't the thing to really shine about. If you want to really look at that, they sat pretty much at 16 defensively, like right in the middle. But how was their offense, though?
They were way better. Fifth in total offense. Now that was pretty good.
That's what happens when you have Justin Jefferson, man.
256 yards a game. Yeah, it was their passing attack that helped them out a lot. Well, the run game was kind of there, but they're
even with like backup QBs and
yes, like even with Kirk Cousins getting a torn ACL in the middle of the season, they still did really good.
Yeah. Hearts out to all Vikings fans who had to suffer through that ACL surgery from Kirk Cousins. I'm sorry.
Hope he comes back next season and helps you guys out big time.
Yeah. To be honest, I would actually be interested to see you guys in the Super Bowl, too. I think that would be interesting.
Yeah, because you guys would be underrated going there.
But, now, where would we grade them? I'd say we grade them at a B-, at least for me. How about you?
I gave it a C+.
Okay.
It was definitely better than the other teams I've ranked. Even though they're also a 7-10 team like the other teams we mentioned, a C-. A C+ because their offense was actually really good. They're the fifth in total offense, and their defense was okay. It wasn't the greatest, but it definitely helped their offense improve. And throughout the season, gave them a 7-10 record, which isn't bad.
So we're going to move on now to the Denver Broncos.
Another interesting team.
They were the most up and down team I think I've ever seen in the league.
What hurt them the most this season was that 70-20 loss to the Dolphins.
Which also is the reason why their defense is so low, sitting at 29th. That is the worst I think I've ever seen a Denver Bronco defense.
Their offense wasn't too bad, 24th. It wasn't.
But, that was a rough season. I'm going to have to give, when it comes down to their grade, I'm giving them a C-. Like, I think the Jets, the Bears, the Falcons even, were all better than Denver.
I'll give it a C+, like the Vikings were. Yes, it was an up and down season, but at the end they were so close to making the playoffs. So close. They were just outside, and
seeing an 8-9 record too.
Yeah, and there's so many teams 8-9 record.
Now, if you want to talk about a team where I think has major potential, let's talk about the Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh yeah.
It's also sitting at 8-9. But remember, they had Josh McDaniels. Oh, okay, yeah, Josh McDaniels.
Let's just not speak of that name.
Yeah, that name's a bad taste in everyone's mouth, especially Raider fans. But let's look at how their defense and offensive was. Defensively for the Raiders, they were also kind of like right in the middle of the pack. They were number 15, I believe, right above the Vikings.
And for offense, their offense was right above the Broncos at 23rd.
23rd.
That's because their first half of their season was absolute dog water. So
yeah. How are we going to rank this team? Because to be honest, that second half with Antonio Pierce taking over,
they lighted
so
it
much
up.
better. I'm going to have to give the Raiders a B- here. Like, I feel like they upgraded just enough for me to give them like, all right, I see potential.
I gave them a C+, which is pretty close to what you were ranked, because first half was terrible, second half really good. Defensively was solid throughout the year. They weren't like good defense, but they were okay.
Yeah. All right, next up we got the New Orleans Saints.
This will be an interesting one, moving to the NFC South.
Yeah, for the Saints, they are actually they're slightly above when it comes down to their defense, above the Raiders. So they're number 13
in defense, and they were number 11th in offense. So they had a
solid team.
They were
It's just they were stuck with Derek Carr.
Yeah, Derek Carr isn't the answer, Saints fans. Just putting it out there. But offensively, it looked amazing, and same as defense too. Like, I don't know how we're gonna rank. This is gonna be interesting for ranking.
Yeah. So for me, I'm giving him another B minus. Like, I feel like even with all this talent that they had, with all the good rankings for each thing, they just were just a mediocre team. Ended with 9-8. Like, it just didn't feel good watching them.
I agree. I also gave them B minus as well. I didn't see the potential. They had more potential than how they played, which is what you're kind of saying. And they, like I said, they could have been at least top 10 on both defense and offense if they had that more true potential.
Yeah. Next up, we got the Indianapolis Colts. Okay.
Another NFC South team.
Or AFC South.
Sorry, my bad. AFC South.
So, for the Indianapolis Colts, when it comes down to their defense, they were in the lower half. They were above the Cardinals' defense, but not by much. Like, not even a full yard difference.
Their offense was okay. They were 20th ranked offense, which mid-pack. It wasn't good, but they also lost Anthony Richardson early right away, so they were stuck with Gardner Minshew the rest of the season back up.
To be honest, though, Gardner Minshew almost led them to the promised land, a.k.a. the postseason.
Almost Minshew mania right there for the Colts fans. He almost got into the playoffs, but missed it by a tiebreaker.
And also because, I'm sorry, Colts fans, the drop pass on 4th and 1, he should have caught that. I don't know how he dropped it against the Texans.
Oh.
That one was horrible. But I think you guys are really good next season, and I'm going to rank you at a solid B.
I'm gonna rank them at a solid B minus.
B minus.
B minus. So we had similar rankings, but it wasn't what they had a lot more potential than what they did, but they lost their starting QB early on. So they could, if they haven't lost their starting QB, maybe it would have been a little better. But
yeah. So next up, we got the Seattle Seahawks. And they're the Seahawks. To be honest, I didn't really have too much for this team. Their defense was hard, sitting at number 30. And how's their offense?
Not bad. 14th.
14th?
14th, not bad.
Huh. I don't even know how they're 14th.
230 yards a game.
I guess that's not bad.
Probably because of Geno Smith lighting it up offensively.
On occasion.
Yeah.
They ended with a 9-8 record, but they felt like they easily could have been 7-10 or 6-11.
Yeah, they just got lucky in a few games.
So,
especially against.
What am I gonna rank them? I'm giving them a C.
For me, I'll give them a B minus. Their offense was better, but their defense was hard. It wasn't hard like the. Sorry, Panthers. Actually, no. Sorry to.
Commanders.
Sorry, Commanders fans. But they weren't like your team, but they weren't terrible.
Yeah. So, next up is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yet again, a team that should make the postseason. But
we gotta look at how their stats are.
Yeah, I know. Their defense, it was only like a couple above the Colts. So, like, yeah, it's pretty low. It's pretty bad.
They had a top 10 offense. They had a 9th in offense, 242 yards a game.
Really?
Yeah,
no, that's a shock.
Probably because they were really good most of the season, but they choked the last 4 or 5 games, and that screwed them over for the playoffs.
Okay.
How are we gonna rank these? Rank the Jaguars.
Jaguars. To be honest, I would have easily taken the Titans, Falcons, or Jets any day. Give me a C minus for the Jaguars.
I have them ranked below the other teams we just mentioned. I have them a C plus.
C plus.
Yeah, I have them. They, like I said, they were really good for most of the season, but you guys choked it out for the playoffs. You guys couldn't finish the season out, and you could have made the playoffs. You said you just choke it out and gave it to the Texans.
Yep. All right. This is actually going to be the last non-playoff team, and it's the Cincinnati Bengals.
Big shocker. But not at the same time.
Yeah, sitting at 9-8, like they were the worst in the the AFC North. But remember, the AFC North, everybody had a winning record, so them being at 9-8 is still pretty impressive.
It still was ridiculous. The entire AFC North was a winning record, and almost all made the playoffs. Almost.
Yeah. Now, for the Bengals, though, their defense was number 31st.
Ouch.
What was their offense?
Their offense was mid-pack. They were right behind the Seahawks, so they're right above the Eagles, but they're right below the Seahawks. So they were mid-pack in offense.
Okay. Not too bad. So what would you grade them? I'm going to give them a solid B, actually. I know that their defense is not good, but I think the fact that after losing Burrow and somehow still getting a winning record, I just think it's impressive. So I'm gonna definitely give them a solid B.
I know this is gonna be controversy for you. I'm just gonna say C plus. I know what you're gonna say. Like, why C plus?
Not really. To be honest, it makes sense. But what's your explanation though?
Losing Joe Burrow kind of hurt them a little bit. They could have made the playoffs, but they still had a really good season with a backup QB all season.
Yeah, Jake Browning was interesting.
Yeah,
I hope somebody picks him up.
Honestly, I agree.
All right, first playoff team, the Los Angeles Rams. What a team! Their defense, unfortunately, isn't really anything to shine about. It's like, I think it's barely hitting into the top 20.
But their offense, 10th in offense, 239 yards in the regular season. Their playoffs season yards per game, 357 yards per season in the playoffs.
Yeah, now it's against the Detroit Lions,
which are usually a pretty good defense, honestly.
In a way. Here's an interesting one. Because Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, Matt Stafford was lighting up in the second half.
And their run game was also amazing too.
Like who's their guy on that rushing defense, rushing offense? I don't even remember anymore because but he was going off, whoever it was.
Yeah, I agree.
How are we going to rank this team? I am giving them a solid B plus. This is where I'm starting to hit the pluses on the B side.
I honestly agree. I also gave them a B plus because they were pretty good both offensively and defensively, but the Lions you just choked to the Lions in the playoffs. So
yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't say they
choked. It wasn't a choke, but it was a close game, though.
Yeah, refs kind of had something to do with it. But anyway.
Yeah, ref story.
Hey, let's move on to my team, the Pittsburgh Steelers. And
also
it was a Pittsburgh Steelers season.
An up and down season for Pittsburgh.
It's the Steelers. Pretty much what you saw in the season is what you should expect.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not... We shouldn't be wrong here.
I want to look here at their defense because you think that would have been a high spot, but to be honest, it's actually worse than the Rams' defense. It's barely it's in the 20s. That's how bad it is.
Their offense wasn't the greatest either. They're the lowest ranked offense for playoffs. I'm pretty sure it was 25th. I'm pretty sure 25th ranked offense. So their offense wasn't great because it was up and down all season. If you would agree with me.
So, here's the ranking as a Steelers fan. I hate giving him this ranking. I'm giving him a C.
Wow.
I just don't. This is the Steelers, and it drives me nuts to be a fan sometimes. They just get into the playoffs and lose first round. It's a normal season, so it's nothing special.
I actually gave him a B plus, and there's reasons to this. You guys somehow made the playoffs with an up and down season. Your offense and defense weren't the greatest, but you guys made it somehow. A stroke of luck that some teams beat some teams, and you guys made it. And squeezed in as a 7th seed.
The luck. Now, next up, we got the Miami Dolphins, and if you want to talk about being the number one offense, this is it.
Oh, yeah.
This is definitely the number one offense.
But how's their defense, though?
Their defense, though, it's not too bad. The Dolphins' defense, top 10. Number 10.
So, not a bad defense, but obviously their offense being number one, and we all know why. We have those two speedsters on the outside, Tyreek and Waddle.
Oh, yeah. And then their running backs.
They were crazy,
if they can stay healthy, though.
if those two running backs, especially Achane was crazy.
Yeah, and Raheem Mostert. How many touchdowns does this dude have?
Over 10 at least.
He had over 20, dude.
20 combined at least, passing and running.
He had a great season. Unfortunately, though, their December days
came to
hit. They suck in December. That every year.
And the playoffs, they
choke again.
They lost to the Chiefs.
So how are we gonna rank them? To be honest, with how disappointing they ended the season and the fact they couldn't really beat a real winning record team other than Dallas. And to be honest, Dallas isn't even a really real record team.
And they're also a choke job. We'll get to that.
We get to that soon. I give them a C+.
Really? Because I gave them an A.
You give them a solid A.
I know it's very controversial, but their offense was stellar.
I know for me, like, most of that offensive performance came in the Denver game. Like, everything else...
70 points.
If they didn't have that performance,
they would have had that
number one would have been a whole other team that we have yet to come up for.
Yeah, honestly, you're not wrong.
So, let's move on to this man's favorite team.
Philadelphia Eagles. I'm honestly disappointed in my own team. I'm honestly crying a little bit because ever since the Niners game, they were a complete choke job. Like, holy crap.
Yeah, when it comes down to the defense, oh, man. Like, they sat at number 26 in defense.
They sat 16th offense, so they were mid-pack offense.
And their defense was hard.
No, I would agree. I also agree that my own team, but with these new coaches coming, which we'll get to that in another video, this should help.
Yes, definitely. But where are we going to grade these guys? I'm giving them a B-.
I have to honestly give my boys a C+ because...
Oh, even lower.
Yeah, even though they were a winning record and 11-6 team, they could have been way better if they had better offense. Way better offensive coach. Dear God. Thank God they fired him.
Yeah. All right, next up is the Cleveland Browns.
What a defense these guys were.
The number one defense in the league. As a Steelers fan, it hurts. But it was still nice to see them have a good year.
Yeah, honestly.
11-6 record and everything.
Offensively, they were 19th. So not bad.
Offense was iffy.
217 yards a game, which isn't bad.
It was fun to watch Joe Flacco, though.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. Watch that old man play like his young days. Him and Amari Cooper combination was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Especially in that game where he had over 200 yards, 3 touchdowns.
That was the Texans game that happened. We watched that game live. That was crazy.
Yeah.
So, where are we going to rank the Browns? I give them a B+, kind of like the Rams. Like, they were a really solid team, a lot of potential.
Well, I also agree. I also gave them a B+ as well. Defense,
there we go. We finally agree on something.
Yes, we do. Defense was stellar, but their offense was mid-pack, so it wasn't terrible, but it could have been a little bit better. But overall, you guys made it to the postseason, but unfortunately lost to the Texans.
All right.
Up next, we got
the Dallas Choke Boys. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, come on, you guys all saw that joke coming. So, Dallas were 12-5.
They were undefeated at home too until the playoffs.
They had the number 5 defense in the league
and the number 3 offense in the league.
And they lose in a blowout loss to the Green Bay Packers.
Which I am extremely happy. Thank you, Green Bay Packers. I well appreciate it. Keep the choke job going for Cowboys.
If there's anything that an Eagles and Steelers fan can agree on, it's hating the Cowboys. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know what happened. Dak Prescott just cannot win a playoff game to save his life.
Oh, yeah.
So,
how are we going to rank them?
I know that their stats would make them an A+. I'm just giving them a B.
Because of what happened at the end of the year at home.
Yeah.
I honestly gave them an A-.
A-?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I gave them an A-, which is not other teams we're going to mention, but it is that they would have been better if they didn't have that choke job at the end. You guys were undefeated at home, so that's why I gave you guys an A-. But you guys didn't do so hot on the away games.
Yeah. So, next up, speaking of the team to beat them, the Green Bay Packers. This is actually a very interesting team to talk about.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, they weren't, like, when it comes down to their stats, like, their defense was definitely nothing to, like, be all, like, amazing about. They were kind of, like, right in the middle of the pack.
but I will say this: their offense 12th, which was actually decent because
Jordan Love had 32 touchdowns passing.
Yes,
Like, that's incredible.
And 5 in the postseason, 5 actually all in the Dallas game.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Or, no. Like, he passed 2 touchdowns, I believe, in the San Francisco game, too.
So he had 3 touchdowns in the Dallas game. And 2 in the San Fran game.
Yes, that sounds about right.
Which, unfortunately, they lost. So.
Darn. I was hoping the other way around.
Yeah, we both were.
But they still had a great season. What do you want to rank them at, though? That's the big question. I'm going to give them an A-.
I'm going to give them a B+. Which we both kind of agree on that because they were struggling the first half, but then they picked it up in the second half big time.
Yeah. The reason why I gave them an A- is not only did they pick it up, but they won a playoff game against a team that we just talked about last one, which was the Cowboys. And they had, like, top, like, 5 everything.
And they choked to this Green Bay Packers team who has teams in both offense and defense.
Yeah. So, next up on our list here is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are also at 9-8 and won their playoff game in a slaughter fest against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Sad face for me.
Yes, definitely. And it was not a good game to watch if you're an Eagles fan.
No, I honestly, when I was starting to see how the game was, I honestly went up to bed because I didn't want to watch it anymore. It was just a horror show.
But as for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they had a really close game against the Detroit Lions.
They did, but Lions ended up beating them.
Yeah.
In the end.
Now, defensively, they were kind of like, they were barely like above the Colts. But how's their offense at least?
They were actually right below Philly, 17th.
17th offense.
They're-
Mike Evans is good. Baker Mayfield was a surprise, I'd say.
Godwin helped a little bit, but it was more of Mike Evans' show.
Definitely. Where are we going to rank the Buccaneers? For me, I didn't see it as impressive as the Green Bay Packers run because Buccaneers had a home game. So, and Packers had to try to beat people on the road and almost beat the 1 seed. So, for Buccaneers, I'm giving them a B+.
I'm giving them a B. So we both went down a rank for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because it wasn't the Buccaneers fans. It wasn't as impressive as what looked like for Green Bay because Green Bay beat Dallas, but you guys had also had impressed in season 2 by beating my team.
But be proud of your team, Tampa Bay. You had a good team this year. Okay, moving on. The last few teams, and all of them are interesting. The Houston Texans we're starting off with.
Another 10-17 like your Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yes, but this time they were a much better team.
Oh,
and C.J. Stroud.
The rookie quarterback lighting it freaking up.
The sensation of the NFL of last year.
I think he won NFC.
He won the AFC's Offensive Rookie of the Year.
I'm pretty sure he did.
Solidly. Like, he had an amazing year.
Not even close to...
He only threw like 5 interceptions in the regular season.
Yeah, pretty much. I think he threw the least amount of interceptions as a rookie.
Yeah, and he actually threw the least amount of interceptions in the league in total.
Yes, actually, that is true.
That's what's crazy about this team.
Now,
So,
how's their defense, though?
Defense for the Texans. Their defense was pretty solid.
Not bad.
So it's kind of like right there.
But their offense, 7th. That's
Yeah.
C.J. Stroud is what gave this Texans offense a big boost.
Oh, yeah. So,
And they needed it.
where are we going to rank them? I gave them a solid A because they not only did they beat expectations, but they just looked good this year. They were fun.
They were a B+ for me. They weren't quite an A-, but I was going to give them an A-, but I gave them a B+ at this time around. But they have a lot more potential than what they were. They could be a true 1C team, I think, in the AFC. They could challenge even the greatest teams like the Bills and the Chiefs. And that's a high praise, but I'm putting it out there for Texans fans.
Yeah. Speaking of Buffalo, the Buffalo Bills are next.
And again,
Oof. I don't know how to think about this team. They have one of the best teams in the league. Their defense sitting just above Miami's at number 9 defense.
and same thing for their offense, number 8. So they had a good offense and defense, but when they get to the playoffs, it just falls apart.
It does every single year in the division round. It's usually against the Chiefs, and it's just
big surprise.
Oh, why?
They're literally the Buffalo Bills.
It's the same story.
I can't believe I'm saying this, Buffalo fans, but you guys are literally the Dallas of the AFC.
Yeah. Now, where am I going to rank them? I actually have them a whole step down from Houston, being a B.
Really? I have them at an A- because of how good their actual season was and how good their team was.
Yeah, their season was kind of an up and down spiral. And if they would have beat Kansas City, you bet I would have had them much higher.
I would give given them an A if they beat Kansas City.
Yeah.
But choke job at the end of the season.
Yep. All right. The final four that were in the NFL that lasted the championship games. Starting off with the Detroit Lions.
What a story this team was. What a story.
And also how much salt I had after they lost.
Yeah, and they lost in the championship game to the San Fran 49ers.
Yeah. But though, Lions fans, be so grateful for the season you had.
And you guys won your first division in 30 years.
And then not only that, but you won 2 playoff games at home in a row.
Yeah, I was going to say.
The most impressive season I think I've ever seen out of a Detroit Lions team.
Absolutely.
So I'm so amazed to be able to see that.
Now, what's their stats look like? How's their defense look?
Unfortunately, their defense isn't really that good. It's like right where the Titans and Rams are.
Oh, so it wasn't the greatest. But their offense, though, between the Dolphins and the Lions, the Dolphins and the Dallas Cowboys, second in total offense.
Second in offense for the Lions. Man.
You don't see that out of a Lions team once in a while.
Their rushing attack was brutal.
So was their passing attack, too, honestly.
Yeah.
Amar St. Brown, another 1,000-yard season for him.
That was great. All right.
How are we going to rank these guys?
I gave Lions a solid A.
I gave them an A+.
An A+? You went all in.
I would give them an A+, because I'm very happy for the Detroit Lions, because they went all in, won 2 playoff games, and a 12-5 season. That's really good. You don't see that often.
The only reason they're not an A+ for me is because they didn't win.
Yeah, they
didn't championship game.
If they won the championship game, he probably would have gave them an A+. Yeah. So, next team.
So next up is the Baltimore Ravens. Yeah. Again, Ravens. Why do you choke in either the divisional round or the championship game as the 1 seed?
You guys have the best record in the NFL, and you choked it in the championship game.
And Ravens, don't get me started at the Chiefs were rigged to win that game. Even though I could almost believe you. And you guys did it to yourselves.
You guys did it to yourself, and I can also believe about the whole rigged thing. And
you guys sat at 13-4, best record in everywhere.
Yeah, and let's get to our stats here for the Baltimore Ravens.
Ravens, for their stats, defense 6.
Their offense wasn't. They looked good, but they weren't solid. They had it right below the Colts, so it wasn't the greatest yards per game. It's only
really.
Yeah, I'm not joking to you about that.
No, Ravens had 6-2 on their offense.
Really? I guess I was looking at it wrong. They were 6th in offense.
They were one of the best teams in the league. Most of it was rushing stats. But
370 yards a game.
And most of that was rushing because Lamar Jackson's a beast. Unfortunately, yet again, choking at the most important times. Now, where are we going to rank them? I actually have them ranked lower than Detroit at 8 as an A-.
For me, I also have them A+ because 13-4. 13-4 best record, but why do you guys choke? Seriously, come on.
It's every time we think you're going to do something good, you just do that. As a Steelers fan, it's kind of funny, but I definitely actually wanted you guys to win because I hate the Chiefs even more. Now, let's move on to the San Francisco 49ers. I have to give props to them now. Brock Purdy is actually outstanding.
For Mr. Irrelevant, they called him last year. They were really well. And they had a really high up on offense. They were 398 total yards of offense.
As for their defense sat right below the Patriots. Ravens are at 6. That means the 49ers are at 8. They had a number 8 defense.
Surprisingly, their offense was better than their defense. Everyone was saying the Niners defense was going to be better.
Nope.
Their offense is way better.
If anything, how the playoffs went almost exposed their defense, if anything. It was their offense that had to win in the game in the end.
And how are we going to rank these guys?
For the 49ers, to be honest, I thought they were the most impressive overall team. I gave them an A+.
I gave them an A because at the in the Super Bowl, it all broke down in overtime, and we all know how that went. So
next up, the last team.
I can't believe we're saying this.
Kansas City dang Chiefs. Sitting at 11-6. Their defense was actually number 2 in the league,
which is very surprising and shocking.
What was their offense though?
Right below Philly. And sorry about this earlier. I was looking at total passing offense, not total offense. So they were right below the Eagles in offense at 351 yards a game.
Which ranks them at where, number-wise?
Ninth.
Okay.
So not bad.
Yeah. Why is it always the Chiefs?
I don't know why. 2 years in a row. First the Eagles and now the Niners. Two really good...
Is any team going to be Kansas City? I really don't know.
I honestly don't know either.
So, okay, but here's the thing. Where are we going to rank them? I gave them actually an A-.
I gave them a B+.
Yeah.
For a Super Bowl winning team being 11-6, you guys just got lucky getting there.
And also, the reason why is because everybody saw it coming. Nobody was shocked to see the Chiefs get to the Super Bowl.
It was scripted the entire time that the Chiefs were going to make it. It didn't say in the logo, but
it's like, wait, don't say it's scripted. You're not allowed to say that it's scripted. It's totally not scripted.
Oh, really? Huh? I wonder.
Yeah, I know.
And there's our last team. That's all 32 teams.
30 teams. Unfortunately, we don't have too much time since we've already taken up so much of your time already just talking about these guys simply. We will be doing a more in-depth season review in the later weeks. But hey, this is our first time seeing everybody here. This is our first video. I'm so happy you guys were here to tune in for our first time. And we'll be doing this every Fridays. And yeah, just check us out whenever you can.
This is Luke.
And I'm Elijah. And we were the Eagles of Steel.